My name is Sara Diaz. I'm a web staff writer and a model. And
my name is Christine, and I'm a videographer. This is my first semester on Charcoal.
And welcome to Charcoal Chatroom. So we're gonna be asking each other some questions today, some personal, some about charcoal. So you want to take your first pick?
Okay. I'm gonna go with a pinkety pink one to start. Let's see.
Alliteration.
What's a weird topic that you could talk for hours about?
Oh, this is a serious question. Y'all thought this was gonna be just normal? This is serious.
Sarah and I also just met, so I'm about to.
Yeah, I just met her 30 minutes ago. So I was obsessed with that show. Any show on TLC, I was obsessed with. My Strange Addiction. What's the other one? Jen and Kate +8. I don't know the names anymore. 90 Day Fiance. That one. Come on. My Strange Addiction. They were literally eating drywall, and then they were marrying a roller coaster. So they have a secret to life that I don't know about. What about you? What's your weird topic? What's your weird topic? Come on.
This is embarrassing to admit, but I love to gossip.
Okay. Me too. Because you know what? Anyone who's anti-gossiping is misogynistic. Because let's get into it. Why are they constantly trying to shame women about gossiping when you know what? All it's for survival.
Someone quote that on the pillow. I'm buying a pillow.
What do you like to gossip about? Let's get into it.
I love to analyze people. I feel in not in talking shit as of bringing someone down way, but kind of just analyze their actions and what made them do certain things. And I'm just and I like to go after their charts, astrology wise. I'd be okay, she's problematic because she is a fire moon. No, I love fire moon, but just
Everything you just said right now was Bible, because I'm a Scorpio moon, and psychoanalysis. You're a Scorpio moon, really?
Oh my god,
this is dangerous. But psychoanalysis, Freud was right about certain things. No, he wasn't.
Okay,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay, but astrology is not always correct, because I'm a Cancer sun, and that is the sign that's usually associated with emotional manipulations, all that toxic stuff. But
toxic.
I know my roommate she was my worst sign is Cancer, and she still ended up rooming with me. But it was a learning experience. Our charts, you look at it, it's just giving incompatibility, but we worked it out. So astrology isn't everything, but
that's true. But there's so many different ways of astrology.
Exactly.
I also think that anyone who's ill astrology needs to work on any sort of internalized misogyny that they have. Everything goes back to that. Everything really goes back to that. Because why, when women say, I like astrology, I believe in this, I believe in that, they're you're wrong. I'm no. This actually has existed for thousands of years across many cultures. What was your first impression of charcoal as a whole, your specific team, or each other, and how has your impression changed since?
First impression, I've heard of charcoal as this exclusively space exclusively for POC, and then when I first heard of freshman year, I was just wow, but that was before I was interested in film. I was a hardcore IR student. I was let me get this job in foreign service, let me participate in MUN. I'm magazine, that's just a waste of time. But after I changed my major, knowing a lot of people are involved, I saw went through Charcoal's Instagram and kind of went to a few launch parties, the fashion show, and I was just gagged. It was intimidating. Everyone pulled up in their best fit. Intimidated to the core, and I just something I've admired for so long. But after knowing Melanie, our amazing
Shout out to Melanie.
director of videography, I just decided I want to work with her, and then I saw my way into Charcoal, had that connection. But ever since then, being in this space, it feels so natural. All that intimidation, it just I feel seeing people behind the scene, it's you see them in real life, you realize, oh, you're just another human being. I feel everyone here I'm just like able to connect with everyone like so much easier. And just last night, actually, at the creative meeting, we were sharing like just like our thoughts about charcoals, and I was saying like this is like a space where I feel like I don't have to like prove myself in order to feel valued. Like I can just show up and people like genuinely want to connect with me, where like in a lot of like spaces like other organizations on campus, I do feel like I have to like put up my best self or like showcase my best work before people like even recognize me. But here is a space that I don't need to do that.
I actually like agree like 100%. Yeah, so I found out about charcoal because someone reposted it, like someone I was following already who goes to BU, and they reposted about charcoal, and I was like, this looks interesting. So I applied, and my first semester, which was last semester, I was a web staff writer, and I still am doing that this semester, which I love. But I decided like I want to be a little bit more involved with like the creation of the magazine itself, which is why like I applied this semester to also be a model. And honestly, like my very first impression of people like just walking in last semester, I was like, everyone has a Fore bag. When am I gonna get one? And I still want one, and I'm gonna say it till I die. Dying is crazy. But my impression of charcoal, just like the community in general, everyone is always there to hear you out. Everyone's always there to make sure that you're comfortable. Everyone's always there to like offer a helping hand. And like, because this is a PWI, it's kind of hard sometimes to find your own space and find your community, but charcoal already has their accolades, they already have their things built. It's good people here, and I'm able to feel like really comfortable and myself here. Like everyone outside, like the outside world, it feels like this is just like our little sanctuary, safe haven, where like other POC can just understand like certain nuances without me having to explain it to someone else. Like we already get those like cultural like exchanges. We already know like what it's about.
Worst BU professor / classroom experience?
Oh, a CGS professor writes for Goop, which, if you don't know, Goop is a cult started by Gwyneth Paltrow. And you know what? I'm gonna be indifferent about that because Goop is just an entity of its own.
That's new information.
That is new information, but it's public, so.
I honestly kind of loved CGS, except the fact that we didn't get to go to London.
Oh, I did.
Yep. Yeah. Worst BU experience. Oh.
I like the way it silently hit the table, too.
No, because that's literally all we look forward to coming to CGS. Like, already having to, like, sacrifice a semester and then coming in. Mm-hmm. We all did that so we could go to London, and it didn't happen.
What was a lesson that resonated with you the most? This is the therapy session.
This is the therapy session. Mm-hmm. I would say letting go of things that are just no longer worth it. Mm-hmm. I feel like I used to have like a strong attachment issues, whether it is to like friendships, childhood, or like past experiences. Like I've always like tried to like hold on to everything so strongly that like I like would hate to. Like, I want to remember everything, every single detail, every single moment. I want to keep every single person I've ever met in my life. Right. Because, I don't know, just, like, that attachment to the past. Instead of, like, it's like I get so focused on living in the past that I don't think about, like, living in the present or, like, to, like, expect. It's not, like, expecting the future, but more just, like, keeping your hopes up, keeping, like, being open.
One of the best things I've ever heard, I actually heard it from a drag queen. I think her name is Sonique Love. Don't quote me on that. But she said, don't let your childhood fears make your adult decisions. And I was like, shit.
I would start crying right there.
I was like, that is something. I feel like that's so important because just because like growing up and then you're going through a transitional phase in college, like essentially from like being a teenager and then you're just catapulted into like adulthood and stuff, like you kind of have these like internal tools that have like stayed with you since you were a kid. Mm-hmm. And now you're just like thrown in a world where it's like you have to be on top of everything, you have to be by yourself and whatever like that. So I think like making new decisions, even ones that you didn't think that you necessarily were going to make or act a certain way, I guess you didn't anticipate. Like, that's just part of, like, I guess being the person that you want to eventually be, or being that version that, like, little you wanted to be as well.
I know.
So, yeah.
What's a lesson that was hard for you to learn?
Okay, sometimes I think I question my intuition about certain things and certain people. Like, sometimes I'm like, did they say that? Did they really mean it that way? Or am I tripping? Or something like that. But if you, like, consistently, like, are having, like, second guesses and, like, second guessing yourself, and you're constantly questioning what the other person is, like, actually meaning, then maybe their intentions aren't in the right place. You know what I mean? And so I think trying to, like, establish kind of boundaries, not only for other people, but for yourself, and be like, hey, like, even coming to be you, I'm like, okay, like, I want friends. I want to, like, make as much friends as I can. But you also have to, like, discern whether people, like, have your best interests. And also just, like, are you compatible with the other person? Do you share interests? Are there nuances that you don't even have to share, like cultural nuances, like, which is why, like, Charcoal is such a good, like, great community, because you don't even have to explain yourself about certain things. Also, this kind of plays into it, but that whole opposites attract thing is not true, at least for me. I feel like you have to have a lot of similar interests, because if opposite is too opposite, then, like, what can you even do?
I give the energy I want to attract. Like, whatever I attract, I attract.
I don't chase, I attract.
Period!
You should find me. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't, basically. I would
say my answer is also very similar. Just, like, even now I see it, like, the tendency for me to, like, people please, or trying to, like, match my energy with others, like, trying to, like, conform. That's, like, the biggest thing. Like, a tendency to people please, to, like, find your values through, like, others' approval of you and how well you fit into other people's, like, expectations, the norm, whatever it is. I'm actually really good at that. I'm super good at conforming. That's a skill that I've gained, because
I have a question then. Is it, like, conforming to just, like, societal, like, mores, or is it just, like, cultural, like, code switching?
I think both a little bit, because I actually moved here when I was in, like, around, like, 12 from China. It was, like, a complete different country, like, socially, like, language wise. I've just, like, tried so hard getting, like, I was ashamed of my accent. I feel like that's not something you should be ashamed of. Like, if I hear someone accent today, I'll be like, that is the most adorable thing. Like, it's something that's, like, special about your manner, about your personality. Like, why would you want to get rid of that? And that's, like, one thing I tried really hard to get rid of. And then kind of, like, just, like, throughout high school and college, just, like, constantly feeling like you need others to validate you. You know, like, your clothes, your friend, your social circle. Like, I used to be embarrassed of having, like, friends who have similar background as me, because I feel like we're just, like, the outcast or whatever. So I try my best to conform. Even, like, now, I think I still have that tendency, especially when it's in, like, a predominantly white space. Like, it's, the tendency is stronger to, like, people please. Well, like, yeah, but about Charcoal, it's, like, I don't feel the need to do that. Like, when I come in here, I can just... Yeah, I just vibe. I just said, yeah.
That's also, like, just a general part of, like, growing up, trying to, like, stop the people pleasing. But like, it's just like learning how to please yourself, basically. Period. And like have, like, establish those boundaries for yourself and put yourself first. Because I feel like, especially in, like, this culture, it's always like, oh, put others before yourself, put others' expectations before yourself. But you really need to put yourself first. And you know what, it's just part of growing up. And I think that, like, different facets and stuff of, like people say it's like masks, but those could also just be, like, facets of yourself as well.
Just try to think about this. Not everyone deserves your energy. Whoever does is lucky and fortunate to be here. And yeah. That's a wrap!